Hello, everybody. Hold on, let me make sure that I don't have my flux on so that I can actually see the colors of my background and what I'm working with here. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tarot by Hilary Live. I will do introductions directly after we do our intro clip. So I will see you in about 20 seconds. So watch this, stay tuned, etc. I will be right back. All right, I am back. And that should give you an idea of when I do these live streams, date, day, and time around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Though lately we've been starting around like 6:45 because it really depends on what time I get home. So anyway, hello, welcome to the broadcast. I am Hilary, professional tarot reader and tapping practitioner, here to demystify the mystical and put you in touch with the most beautiful gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition is one of my firmly long-held beliefs, that everyone has intuition, and I connect with my intuition, and I connect my clients with their intuition through tarot. That is my main tool to access my intuition and to awaken the intuition in my clients and my tarot students as well. Though there are many different avenues to understanding and accessing your intuition, and no one avenue is better necessarily than the other. I think it's about personal preference, quite frankly. So actually, one of the first ways that I started to learn how to understand my intuition was called by my intuition was through dreams, actually. Dreams, and also hearing my voice being called and turning around and not seeing anyone there. So that was my first experience with intuition and with extrasensory perception. And then tarot came along a little bit later. So not a lot of people know that. So anyway, we do this live stream every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and on different metaphysical and divinatory and witchy topics. So we've done topics on divination and different forms of divination. We have done mediumship. We have done charm casting. We have done spirit boards. We have done tarot. We have done tarot deep dives. We've done the live stream without any specific topic attached to it. So really quickly, if you're not familiar, or if this is your first time tuning in, welcome. I already introduced myself, and let me give you basically the agenda for most episodes. We start with astrology from Teresa Reed and her wonderful Astro Biz Digest for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to bring you into the weekend prepared and not scared. I also do let you know a little bit about the major transits that are happening astrologically over the course of the week. Then we move into the topic at hand. Tonight's episode, in case you haven't read the description, is revisiting a tarot deck from my collection. Tonight we are talking about the Fountain Tarot, which is August's deck of the month for card of the day pulls. So in case you missed it, or you don't follow me on the Gram of Insta or the Book of Face. I believe it was the Seven of Cups that I pulled today from the Fountain Tarot. So that will be going on all month long to really give you a sense of the Fountain Tarot, its different imagery, and also to give you, energetic readings for each day. Now, the great part about card of the day, or especially if you're a tarot reader that's learning to read tarot and you're putting it out there into social media, sometimes people will allow the algorithm to find you and give them the message that they most need to hear that day. So that's part of the reason why I have changed around my wording on card of the day and basically said, if this message, if this is coming up on your feed, this message may be for you from blank tarot deck. And so that is the wording that I've been doing over the last few months, because some people have been very confused by, a card will come up in their feed and it's incredibly resonant for them at that moment. But then they look and they see the timestamp of, oh, that was the card of the day for February 14th of 2016. I don't understand. It's resonant for me now. What should I discount it? Should I discard it? Whatever. And to that, I say, this is the reason why I have started rewording to allow the algorithm to work for us and not against us, and to bring those messages to you outside of time and space when you really need to hear them. So if you happen to come across any of my card of the day posts from years ago and you find it to be incredibly resonant for you in that moment, then that reading is for you. And who am I to say that that reading is not for you if it helps you, right? So that's, so we're talking about the Fountain Tarot in tonight's episode as the main topic. Around the midpoint of the episode, we're going to take a pause and we're going to do the mid-episode reading, which is when one lucky viewer, one lucky live viewer, will get a free 3-card reading from yours truly. And that is a contest that anyone can participate in as long as they are tuning in live. Again, this is another way that I try and speak to my audience without completely running myself ragged, and also addressing the people that are coming into my feed or my live stream expecting a reading. I will give a reading, but I can only give it to one person an episode, and that is the mid-episode reading. And then we'll continue with the topic, and then to end the episode, we will do the weekend forecast, which is either a tarot card or an oracle card, to bring us into the weekend with messages of what we most need to know for the weekend. So really, technically speaking, there are 3 opportunities to receive a reading in every episode: astrology, mid-episode reading if you happen to win it, and the weekend forecast. So these are readings for the collective, for astrology, and for the weekend forecast. And then one lucky viewer can win the mid-episode reading. So if that sounds good to you, if that sounds fun to you, that is our regular agenda. The cornerstones, the main 3 cornerstones of these live streams are astro-weather, mid-episode reading, weekend forecast, with some tarot knowledge dropped in between. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and say hell yeah in the chat, and we will get started with the astro-weather from Teresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. And let me go ahead and pull that up. Also, a reminder that if you want to contribute to this live stream, you can certainly do that by going to my PayPal or paypal.me, paypal.me/tarot by Hilary NY, if you would like to contribute to continuing to keep this live stream free and open to the public. So it's much appreciated. So I'll go ahead and I'll display that on screen, just to let you know. And if you're not able to contribute monetarily, that's totally okay too. I would recommend that you go ahead and follow, subscribe, click the bell to make sure that you get notifications the next time I go live or the next time I post a video. I do a bunch of tapping videos on the tube of you. And I do this live stream every single week, Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I would love to be able to keep it going, but I can't do it without you. Okay. All right. Astro weather. So let me go ahead and show you the information for the astro weather. So the AstroBiz Digest is a subscription service that Teresa Reed offers, in which you get astrology in layman's terms straight to your email inbox every month. Every month you get a monthly summary, and then every week you get a weekly summary, and you get it in layman's terms. So you get the astrology and you get the astrological terms, but you also get it in layman's terms as well, so that you understand, well, what does Mercury retrograde mean? What does Venus in retrograde mean? And why does it affect me? And why does it affect me differently than somebody else that might not have Venus strongly placed, a strong placement with Venus in it in their natal chart? All of that is kind of explained in the AstroBiz Digest, which Teresa Reed does because she is not only a tarot reader, she is also an excellent astrologer. And so what I like to do is I like to quote from the AstroBiz Digest for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, give you a taste of what she does in the AstroBiz Digest so that you can then take that information and then buy it for yourself at $99 for a year-long subscription. It is really reasonable. And see how it can help you yourself. It is geared towards entrepreneurs and business owners, but I have found it to be incredibly helpful in planning my personal life as well. So if you like what you're hearing, please go to the link that I provided in the chat. Not right now. Wait until the end of the episode before you go and do this. thetarolady.com/AstroBiz Digest is where you can get a copy of the AstroBiz Digest subscription for yourself. All right. So let me pull that up. And I know we have had full moon stuff this week. It's definitely been a kind of wacky week, and I blame it on the full moon. But there may be also other reasons for the wackiness. So let's take a look. All right. Full moon in Aquarius on the 1st starts August off with a gentle bang. This is your green light to finish group activities, close down online programs, leave groups, and weed out offerings that no longer bring you joy or money. Let anything that isn't working for you go. The same for your team. If you have a team, do you have the right people in your biz? Does someone need a pink slip? Look at where you can thin the herd. Of course, if your crew is fantastic, this lunation is sweet as heck for a gathering. Host a sit down, celebrate the year's wins, and pat all of the backs. All right, so that is the big energy that's going on this week, the full moon in Aquarius that happened on the 1st of this month. All right, is everybody ready for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Give me a hell yeah in the chat and let me know, and we're good to go. And I'm going to have a little bit of my iced coffee, which has definitely become a staple of Fridays now. All right. Let's see. Okay. Friday. Imagination and intuition are bubbling to the surface thanks to the Moon-Uranus sextile at 11:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Meet with your team to brainstorm new ideas, make art, write unique content, or sketch out a few random insights. At 7 p.m., some of these flashes of inspiration, artsy endeavors take flight when the moon conjuncts Neptune. Whatever you began in the day could develop into something real this evening. Take a Kit Kat break when the moon sextiles Pluto and stations void. Conserve some of your energy until the moon bolts into Aries at 11:19 p.m., I think. Once that happens, you'll be ready to slay every dragon tonight and over the weekend. Today, Friday, August 4th, is a power day for Pisces and a weak day for Virgo. All right, any questions so far? All right, I will continue. Saturday. Saturday is as clear as can be, your best day to launch new things, take dramatic risks, and lead by example. Whatever you do, make sure it's loud and proud. A great spot for PR, the moon-sun trine at 9:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If there was ever a time to get your face out there or to lead a group activity, this is it. Sunday opens up the possibility to be a motivational leader when the moon is conjunct with Chiron at 8:47 a.m. What can you do to lift your spirits? A lively live stream or speech at an event could get people out of their seats and ready for action. Creative or spending urges pop up when the moon trines Venus at 4:35 p.m. Is it time to treat yourself, or are you craving quiet art projects? Indulge in whatever is calling you. Within reason, we are still under Venus retrograde. Within reason. The sun squares Jupiter at 8:03 p.m., ending the weekend on a thud. Extravagance, hypocrisy, inflated egos, and travel issues elevate aggravation. Try not to get bent out of shape. Let nothing spoil your mood. Both days, Saturday and Sunday of this weekend, are power days for Aries and weekdays for Libra. So that makes me very happy because I am an Aries with placement of Aries in my sun sign is Aries, my Mars is in Aries, and my Venus is in Aries as well. So Aries out there, you got a really good weekend, really good power weekend. All right, so that is the AstroBiz Digest. Now, for those live viewers, I usually open up the floor to questions about the week. If their Tuesday was a little bit funky, or their Wednesday was a little bit extravagant on the spending, or Thursday they got into a fight with their significant other, this is the time to ask in the chat. For me to look and see if there was an astrological reason why for that energy. So go ahead and ask in the chat. I'll give you about a minute or so, and then we'll move on to visiting the Fountain Tarot, which is the deck of the month for August. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the Fountain Tarot, keep it close to hand. And I also want to make sure that we're broadcasting as well. So let me double check that. Okay, looks good there. Check one more place. Okay, looks good there too. All right. And I'm not seeing any requests for Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday, though I would not have been surprised at all if people were asking about Monday, because I believe Monday was the full moon. And also Monday had a moon Chiron square in the morning, and there was just weirdness. It was just weird. And then moon was conjunct with Pluto and void right before we went into the full moon. So Monday was a little bit weird, and I will acknowledge that Monday was a little bit weird. So, and Katie is here. Hello, Katie. Let me know if there's any particular day you want me to look at. We just did the AstroBiz Digest, the astro-weather for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and also touched on the fact that the full moon was in Aquarius on the 1st. So let me know if you want me to take a look at any particular day this week. And I will certainly jump back in there because I haven't closed that out. I haven't closed out the AstroBiz Digest. So if people come in a little bit later and they want to know what was going on with the astrology, I can certainly jump back to it. But I would like to move on to tonight's topic, which is talking about the Fountain Tarot, which is a deck that I have had in my collection, I feel like over 10 years now. I'm not quite sure. There was I have a whole story about how I found out about the Fountain Tarot. And, you know, I ended up getting a copy of the Fountain Tarot before they had a deal with a publisher. Where it was more self-published. I think it was more of an independent deck, and I ended up absconding with one of the creators' copies of the Fountain Tarot because I found them at Reader Studio, which is a really large tarot conference that usually occurs every year in New York, in my home state. So, you know, gotta go to it. And that particular year, apparently there was a Kickstarter going on for the Fountain Tarot, and I just didn't know about it. I had no idea about it at all until I was looking at the booths at Reader Studio and in like the merchant directory, and I saw the Fountain Tarot, and I was absolutely gobsmacked, and I was just like, I must have it. I must have it. And there was just something about the deck, and also something about the way I was just very single-mindedly focused on getting a copy of that deck, even though it was a Kickstarter deck and all of the pre-orders from the Kickstarter had been filled and they didn't have any like left. I think they had sold the ones that they had. But I guess my single-mindedness or kind of stalkery nature, I don't know, stalking in a good way, Listen, I've had 2 stalkers in my life, and I would not wish that on anyone. But, you know, I was very single-minded, shall I say. And so it ended up that I was able to purchase a copy of the deck. And I was just like, no, I don't care that it's like an example deck, as long as I have all of the cards, you know, like I don't mind. Like, please, I will take what I can get, because this deck just came out of nowhere for me. And so I referenced that, and I actually linked to my review of the Fountain Tarot on my website in my newsletter that came out today, because for some reason, I didn't even realize this. I took off from doing a newsletter in July again. So, you know, I've been very sparse and inconsistent in my newsletter writings, but that changed today, and I was able to put it out today. So I do have a link to that. If you are a newsletter subscriber, go ahead and check your email. It's in there. And by the way, Katie is agreeing. I agree. The moon was weird. It was indeed. So let me actually pull that up. And the name, by the way, of the newsletter for this month is Mixtape Healing. And it's a long one. So I would recommend getting yourself a cup of coffee, or making yourself some tea, or getting an iced coffee, or giving yourself an alcoholic beverage, or a cocktail, or a mocktail, or whatever, and curling up with it, because it's a long one. I will admit that. So let me pull up my review. So yeah, it came out in 2015. So it hasn't been 10 years. It hasn't been 10 years. Because if it had been 10 years, then we would be talking about 2025, and we're not quite there yet. But, you know, I've had it for a while. So yeah, April, May-ish of 2015, and it was self-published. By now, though, they, I think it's Penguin. Let me take a look. Penguin Random House is the distributor of the Fountain Tarot now. So you can find a copy of the Fountain Tarot wherever you find your books. And if your bookstore doesn't have it, please request it. Please order through there. If you can order through an independent bookstore, by all means do so. I'm sure they have a listing on indiebound.org as well. So yeah, and even in my review about the Fountain Tarot, I'll hold it up. And yes, it's got this iridescent sheen to it, which is another one of the selling points, I will admit. Try to get it to catch the light. Beautiful. And magnetic clasp. We'll get into it, man. But we all stand for a magnetic clasp here at the Tarot by Hilary live stream. We all know it, right? Good packaging. I love good packaging on a tarot deck. That way we don't have to go and get out the silk, or get out the Ipsy bags or whatever. Like this is protecting your deck, and it is also beautiful as well. But yeah, so I say in my review of the Fountain Tarot, which you can read, I will drop the link into the chat. But again, don't go there unless, of course, you want to follow along. Dropping it into the chat, and I'll display it when it pops up for me. There we go. Okay. So just tarotbyhilary.com /deck review, the Fountain Tarot. So yeah, I slept on the Fountain Tarot. I didn't know about it. I had no idea. It caught me by surprise out of nowhere. And I do admit that I have a bit of a problem when it comes to tarot decks. I mean, Teresa calls me the Keith Richards of tarot decks. Like, I can't say no to a good tarot deck. I just can't. Why would I? So I see a new one, and I have to have it. So when I attended Reader Studio in end of April 2015, there was a new booth that caught my eye. And I said, the Fountain Tarot, what's that? Is it bad that I've never heard of it before? And I thought I was on top of new and upcoming decks. And I had a list of decks that I was looking out for to purchase going into Reader Studio of 2015. And the Fountain Tarot was nowhere on it because I just didn't know about it. So I went over to their booth. I looked at the art prints that they had hung up of the images from their deck. And I looked at their sample copy. By the way, I'm pretty darn sure that the sample copy that I was poring over is the one that I I have. I'm pretty darn sure. I asked if I could buy one, only to find out that they had already sold them all the day before, when they did the Tarot and Psychology Conference, which was a one-day conference that they held before Reader Studio that year. My covetous nature went into overdrive, and being put on a waiting list just wouldn't do. Like, I had this, you'll sell me this deck by the end of the weekend. And I was kind of trying to Jedi mind trick them. I'm not going to lie. Like, I was willing to do almost anything to get my hands on this deck. And hopefully you'll see why when I start to show you some of the tarot cards that are in this tarot deck. It's absolutely beautiful. So they laughed. The creators laughed at me, and they enjoyed my enthusiasm, but I wasn't joking. I was not joking. I was just like, I will have it. I will. Oh, yes, it shall be mine. This interaction preceded a weekend-long stalking of the booth. Every so often, I even threw in the "I'm watching you" hand gesture with my fingers at their booth, and fellow conference attendees were also getting into it too. Seeing my enthusiasm, they were like putting in good words for me with the booth without me even asking them. Like, I didn't know that they were doing that until, I ended up getting my copy. Oh yes, I had turned into a tarot stalker, but my crazy nature triumphed, and by Sunday morning they relented, and I ended up going home with the writer's own deck. So I'm pretty sure it was one and the same, the example copy. Did I mention I'm nuts? Friendly, but nuts. So Jonathan and Jason and Andy, the creators of the deck, thank you. Thank you for dealing with me. In hindsight, years and years later, thank you for understanding that it was just, my fixation was more of a compliment to your deck than anything else. So let's get into the meat of why I love the Fountain Tarot. Aggressive surface enthusiasm for the deck can only be construed as a compliment, right? But the love affair only deepened the more I used it for my card of the day draws for that next month. So May of 2015 was the first time that I used the Fountain Tarot as the deck of the month. And we are going to be using the deck of the month for card of the day pulls for this August as well. And I'm pretty sure that I've used the Fountain Tarot as the deck of the month somewhere in there between May of 2015 and August of 2023. I'm fairly certain that this deck has shown up in my card of the day posts from time to time. Especially probably when I did my like hodgepodge month where I just pulled from whatever deck I was feeling that particular day. But also I think I've done it. I've used this as the deck of the month several times since then, between 2015 and 2023. Okay. So the more I saw of this deck, the more I liked as a whole and as the individual cards. First of all, the deck is visually gorgeous and tactilely lush. The silver edges give a fine and special quality to the cards, and the packaging is sturdy and practical and magnetic closure. Magnetic closure, right? Okay. So this is a 79 card deck. Now, I may have misspoke. There might have been a typo in today's newsletter where I said it was 78 cards. It's not 78 cards, 79 cards in the Fountain Tarot, because there is an additional card of the Major Arcana that the creators decided to add, which is called the Fountain, the namesake of the deck, the Fountain. Okay. So if I wrote 78, it's actually 79. Okay. So Major Arcana, 23 cards. The 23rd card is the additional Major Arcana card, the Fountain. Minor Arcana is 56 cards. And there is an 112-page guidebook The meat of most tarot guidebooks or little white books, large or small, is the meaning section. In this book, it is the section titled Meanings and Reversals and is broken down by major arcana and then minor arcana. Each card, whether major or minor, has its own meaning page, giving the following information: the name and the number of the card, the italicized keyword that gives a clue to the meaning of the card. For example, the Emperor's keywords are structured control. That is the main italicized keyword or phrase that is attached to the Emperor for the Fountain Tarot. I'm sorry, I got distracted there because Mom was texting me, because of course she's texting me. A brief description, continuing into the guidebook, a brief description of the card and the artistic choices made to lead to that depiction of the card, the upright meaning and the reverse meaning. Any questions so far? Because I will open this. We will explore this deck together. So some readers will tell you to avoid the little white book or the companion guide that comes with a deck. In this case, the companion book is extremely helpful, especially when an artistic choice was made that deviates from traditional Rider-Waite-Smith symbolism. I have no shame in saying that I leaned heavily on the companion book during my card of the day polls originally with this deck, and found reading about each card from the artist's point of view only deepened my understanding and added an additional layer of nuance on top of my own personal interpretation of the tarot cards. And as you'll notice, most tarot decks are 78 cards. This deck has an additional card of the major arcana that comes after the world card, the Fountain. In the creator's own words about the Fountain card, the namesake of the deck is a card added to the end of a major arcana card called the Fountain. And I think I'm going to try and find it for you as I'm talking about it. But let me show you, first of all, some of this packaging before I continue. So again, we stand a good magnetic closure. We stand good packaging here. So you open it up. Okay. And then inside you have the deck, and then you also have the companion book, which is roughly the size of the deck. Okay. You have a ribbon. Now, I can only speak to the original version of the Fountain Tarot. Maybe they might have changed the packaging now that it's being distributed by Penguin Random House. I don't know. I don't know if you happen to have a copy of the Fountain Tarot that has been produced by Penguin Random House and you happen to be here in the live or watching the replay, please feel free to comment and let me know or let all of us know what the packaging is like now, or if it differs at all. But this is the original packaging with a ribbon as well. So what I like to do is I like to put the ribbon to the bottom. That way I have the cards stacked on top, and then I can take the ribbon and fold it over the cards and then put the companion book or little white book or little companion book on top, so that I have separation between the guidebook and the cards, so that it's just easier to take out of the box when I'm ready to use it. But yeah, so it all folds out to this. Okay, so you've got Fountain Tarot on one side, you've got the magnetic closure, you've got the back of it, right? And then on the inside, this is what you see. You are the voice and the breath of universes. And then in the box, if you tilt it slightly, you can see that it has the fountain, the F of the Fountain Tarot at the base. Can't really see it on here with the glare, but it's there. It's there. And there is this iridescence to the packaging too. Okay, so good packaging, right? Companion book. Okay. 112 pages. Oh, and the original copyright is 2014. So, guidebook. Backs of cards. Side of cards. So you've got silver edges on this baby. Okay. And then fronts of cards. So let me find the fountain card amidst all of this. There she is. So she wants to be talked about. So here is the fountain. And it has no number. It has the infinity symbol next to it. Okay. So the 79th card, or the last card of the major arcana for the Fountain Tarot, is the Fountain. In the creator's own words, the namesake of the deck is a card added to the end of the major arcana called the Fountain. Though the traditional tarot ends with the World card, an elegant portrayal of the completion of cycles, harmony, and evolution from novice to expert, we craved a representation of the even larger context in which life takes place, beyond the doing of life, and even beyond the cycles, the unnameable force of which everything and nothing are a part. This is the Fountain. All right. Any questions so far? And I feel like this is a really good stopping point so that when we do the mid-episode reading, we'll do it with the Fountain Tarot so you can see some of the images here. And then once the mid-episode reading is complete, I can then continue with my review of the Fountain Tarot as I did it originally when I first started working with it, or when I finished working with it for the first time back in 2015. And that way I can tell you about my initial impressions and then tell you about how my impressions of this deck have changed and evolved over time. Does that sound good to everybody? If not, too bad. It's my live stream. So let me put the Fountain card back into the deck. And let's do the mid-episode reading. So for those of you who are new, don't know how the mid-episode reading works, what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you would like to submit yourself into the contest for the mid-episode reading, all you need to do is comment after you see the jar come up. And you can comment whatever you want, be nice. And then you will be in the running for the mid-episode reading. Then we're going to select, also using that little jar. And that person will win the mid-episode reading. That person will then put their question into the chat, and I will pull 3 cards to answer their question or their topic that they want a reading on. That is the mid-episode reading in a nutshell. And I do it most Friday nights as part of this live stream. Haven't done it recently, only because I've been doing such topics as like doing a tapping or kind of giving a reading amongst the live stream. So it hasn't been as necessary, but I'm ready to do it again today to show you basically how the Fountain Tarot reads. It's beautiful. It's a great deck. So without further ado, let me go ahead and throw on the Comet Snake and the lottery jar. So And if we don't have one, if we don't have people submitting themselves for the mid-episode reading, then either we don't have the mid-episode reading this week, or I will give myself a reading and call myself out on the broadcast. So I will leave this going for, I don't know, let's give it about 3 minutes. So I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes. Set timer for 3 minutes. Please set a timer for 3 minutes.
Starting now.
All right, so there you go. You have 2 minutes and 40 seconds to submit yourself for the mid-episode reading. And if you have done the mid-episode reading recently, that's okay. You can go ahead and submit yourself again. And while we are doing that, I'm going to go ahead and season the deck by just shuffling it while we're waiting. All right, so Katie has put her name in the jar for the mid-episode reading. So now there is 100% chance that she is going to be selected for the mid-episode reading. So if you want to even out the odds, you need to comment. Otherwise, it's going to Katie. All right. All right, 50-50 now. 50-50. Angel got in here. Hi, May, please have a reading. You may, if you win the mid-episode reading. 30 seconds left. Ten, 9, 8, 2, 1. All right. Contest is closed. So before I go ahead and get a winner and pull, just to let you know, if you do not win the mid-episode reading, that is okay. You just need to tune in and try again next week, the next time we do the mid-episode reading. And if you need a reading before then, and you would like to book a reading with me, you can totally do that at my website, tarotbyhilary.com. We've got a lot of different reading options available: Zoom, phone, Skype, email readings as well. All right, let's go ahead and pull the winner. All right, the winner is Katie. Yay! All right, Katie, go ahead and put your question into the chat, and I will pull through 3 cards on that question. Again, Angel, if you would like to book a reading with me, you can do so tarotbyhilary.com, or you can tune in next week and try again. All right, Katie, please put your question into the chat, and I will pull 3 cards to answer that question or that topic. And who knows? I mean, like a lot of the time when I give a reading, and I'll give a reading to someone for the mid-episode reading, it ends up being strangely resonant to more than just the person that I'm reading for. And I would pay attention to that too, honestly. It's not quite the same as mediumship in like a gallery reading setting, but it kind of is at the same time. They call it piggybacking, where it's just like, it's almost as if spirit wants to reach as many people as possible. So they will give more of a reading that feels very resonant, but can also be general at the same time. I feel like I'm not describing this exactly as clearly as I want to, but sometimes it's just like the message will come through, you know, it'll come through no matter what, you know. And just because this reading is for Katie, and Katie's gone ahead and put her question into the chat, just because this reading is for Katie, there may be some aspects of the reading or the message that I give to Katie that you may also feel very resonant and feel like you need to take it to heart. And that's kind of how tarot works and how psychic reading works sometimes. So pay attention. You know, just because this reading isn't for you doesn't mean that this reading isn't for you. You know what I mean? Okay. So Katie's question is, momentum seems to have slowed on moving to my house. So I'm wondering, what do I need to know to get that momentum going again? All right. Momentum seems to have slowed. What do I need to know to get that momentum going again? Interesting. All right. So what I like to do for these mid-episode readings is sometimes I will go to the guidebook and go to the guidebook first. Sometimes I will read first my own interpretation. Sometimes I'll do a little bit of both. But for right now, what I'm feeling is to go to the guidebook first and then go to my own interpretations. But what I'm looking at is 2 of the cards came out reversed. Yes, 2 of the cards came out reversed, and then the last card came out upright. So it feels as if like it's kind of reflecting the situation asked in your question, or the situation that you're asking about, by like that momentum seeming to have slowed. With 2 reversals coming up first, it feels as if it's mirroring that momentum slowing. But the Ace of Wands is your final card, and it's upright. So I feel like it's almost as if there is this linchpin. There's something there where it's just like the way the ace is depicted, the Ace of Wands is depicted. It's almost this like you're taking a staff or you're taking the wand and you're slamming it down, and the reverberations are rippling out, and something from that starts to get going again. So that's my initial, okay? But let me go ahead and go to the guidebook first. I will also hold up the card as I'm reading about it from the guidebook, and then also will hold up the card as I'm giving my interpretation. But initially, you have the Hierophant reversed, you have the Nine of Swords reversed, and then you have the Ace of Wands upright. Those are the cards that are coming up. So the keyword coming up for the Hierophant in general is trusted advisor. The Hierophant warmly protects the tradition, spiritual guidance, and practical advice of the community. It may be hard to see, but it's a man basically opening a rectangular box, and then the lines of light are shooting out from it. Though they are not his own, they have been entrusted to him, and he shares them freely with anyone who asks. He is the illuminating link between our most cherished beliefs and the actual living of those beliefs in our day-to-day lives. The Hierophant asks you to honestly assess how well your convictions translate to words and actions. He can be a stubborn teacher, but his counsel is worth considering. It will undoubtedly guide you toward inner harmony. Now, he is coming up reversed, so the reversed meaning, according to the guidebook of the Fountain Tarot, is rigidity or stubbornness, fear of change, rejection of traditional beliefs, weakness, a potential liability, and misguided assistance. So that feels very in line with portions of maybe why the momentum has slowed. And I think parts of it are out of your control. And I feel like I've read on it before. Correct me if I'm wrong, Katie. But it does feel as if there are very real reasons why the momentum has slowed and why the delays have happened. And some of it is just, a lot of it is not in your control. And that is the most frustrating part about it. It's just like, how do I, it's not about relinquishing control, because you just don't have it for a lot of the things that you've been dealing with. But it is about regaining that control and finding out how to do it without, I don't know, damaging the relationships that are involved within. So I guess what I'm doing is I'm reading from the guidebook, but then I'm also giving my interpretation individually. And then I'll summarize, of course. But yeah, the Hierophant reverse to me is a reflection of the things that have been out of your control, right? And also kind of the perspectives of people that are involved in the situation, and how it's just like there is this sense of needing to control someone that maybe does things a little bit differently. You know, it's just like, oh, like if you've heard the phrase, well, that's the way we've always done it, so we're not going to start now or reinvent the wheel now. That's kind of what you've been dealing with. And while conventional wisdom is in place for a reason, it just doesn't work for you in the long run. So part of it is stuff that you can't control, and part of it is maintaining or getting back the control that you've been lacking in the situation. And that can then help with the momentum. So let me know if that makes sense. Now, moving on to the Nine of Swords, which is also reversed, which I think is a good thing. I very rarely like to see the Nine of Swords, but it's more of a relief to see it reversed rather than upright. So I'm going to show it upright. Just to show the imagery. Okay, so the Nine of Swords, the phrase is imagined misery. A man wakes from a nightmare, still caught in the shadows of anxiety. His fears, concerns, and regrets point sharply at him like sinister foes. His thoughts have piled up in his sleep, steeped in worry and doubt, creating a very intimate brand of misery. He can feel the darkness closing in. The Nine of Swords challenges you to sift reality out from the imaginary. Irrational thinking, like dreams, can become cyclical. Deal with the facts and ground yourself in the rational. Your peace of mind depends on it. Again, this is not upright, this is reversed. So the reversed meaning here is logic, contentment, humility, diligence, rumor, and doubt. And Katie did chime in that what I was saying before about the Hierophant and the reversal of the Hierophant sounds accurate. Good. Okay. So having the Nine of Swords coming up reversed, I feel like is your struggle between what I just told you with the Hierophant reversed and how to gain back control while also finding peace of mind. And the way to do that, what do you need to know to get that momentum going again, is appeal to people's logic. Now, this is going to be harder than just saying, appealing to people's logic, because I feel as if, and again, I don't necessarily know if this is coming from the cards or from something else in my intuition, but it feels as if there are certain people that are involved in the situation that are acting irrationally. And the thing about logic and applying logic is that you can't apply logic to the illogical. You cannot argue with reason with an unreasonable person. So there is a little bit of that going on. So I know you're probably sick and tired of the phrase picking your battles, but you got to pick your battles in this. And it's not necessarily about compromise. It's more about letting go of the things that are really not a big deal to you, where it's just like, I don't care about that. Like, I don't care about, whatever view from my kitchen, but I do care about, walking on a floor and not going through it. Do you know what I mean? Like, there are some big problems. And I feel like if you can get on the same page with the problems, you can get on the same page with how to solve those problems and get that momentum going again. Because I feel like the stagnation or the momentum slowing down has become a part of not being on the same page with the problems, where it's just like it feels as if you're having a completely different conversation with the person that you're having the conversation with. Okay, that makes sense. And for all of you that are watching this, notice how the imagery is different from the traditional RWS. Yeah, very different conversation. It's like you have to, like what I was saying before, you have to agree about what the problems are. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to solve these problems. You're not going to be able to get any momentum going. And I know that is a strange thing to find commonality on about the problems. It's just like, oh, why do we have to focus on the problems? Doesn't that beget more problems? Well, yes and no. It's just like, you have to, like, if you don't address the problems, they are going to get worse. And at the very least, finding common ground on some point is better than not finding any common ground at all. It's this weird almost version of misery loving company, where it's just like, yes, we can agree on the things that are making us miserable. So let's use that commonality. It's just like you're kind of looking for that commonality in a positive way, and you're using the negativity of the problems that you're facing as a stepping stone into the positivity. which is a very weird thing to say, but that's what I'm seeing in the cards. Okay, last card, Ace of Wands. And again, I touched upon it very briefly before at the start, where it's just like, I feel as if this is a staff or what that you're placing down, and then it casts a ripple effect and changes the momentum or speeds things up a little bit more. Ace of Wands. So the key word or the key phrase for Ace of Wands is passionate energy. The Ace of Wands is a gift of fiery passion and enthusiasm, a hot flash of focused intention. This card is about will and determination, creating or destroying something to bring about transformation. Whether your interest is spiritual, mental, or physical, you will have the strength and the inspiration to move your goals forward. Like all aces, however, there is only a brief moment to seize this opportunity. Find your courage and make your move. So upright meanings are strong beginnings, a burst of soul energy, new life, passions discovered, inspiration, bold steps forward. So that might also be an inroad to this person that you are having the issues with, where it might be a common passion or a common hobby that is absolutely unexpected that may draw this person out of their, it's almost as if they see you and they see the frustration that you represent rather than you as a whole, you know? And I feel like there is that moment, that pivot point, that line in the sand that you need to project. Like projecting your strength will also show who you are. That it's just like, you're not a difficult person. You're just passionate, you know? Like, again, and you're saying it's an odd situation. It is an odd situation. I feel that oddness in the cards, but also the odd situation has an odd solution. It has to, because it's such an odd situation. So it was this combination of the three cards and 2 out of the 3 of them being reversed, but the last card being upright. It feels as if there is this glimmer, but it's like, it is this striking while the iron is hot, you know, and you have to kind of, it's weird because it's almost as if you see that flash of opportunity and you have to take advantage of it in the moment. Otherwise, you will miss the window of it. And it has this sense of finding the inroad without being too obvious about the inroad. Like, it's just like, oh, we both like knitting. Again, it's just an example. It's not necessarily that commonality, but there is a commonality that is unexpected, and with that, you can make that inroad. Yes. Yes, I think so. There is a breakthrough eventually. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm going to pull one more card, but not from the Fountain Tarot. I'm going to give you an Oracle card because this is such an unusual situation. I feel like you need an Oracle card from the Visionary Oracle, which is about creative solutions. It's for artists, but I feel as if that is the right Oracle for you right now. So let me go grab it, if I can find it right away. It's meant to be. It's meant to be. I have it right here. Hello. Hello to you too, Lynn. All right. One more card. Right. All right. Unusual situations require unusual solutions. So let's see what the Visionary Oracle has to say. Transformation is the card, which I believe is ruled by fire. Let me see here. Fire energetic. Yes. So you are getting the transformation card. You are on the cusp of an extreme radical change, and whether you've made a conscious decision to create it in your life, or if it's something shaped by external factors, yes, it can be really scary or painful having to grieve an old way of being. Sometimes we don't even realize it's happening while it's happening, but you may one day look back and not even recognize who you used to be. Even though metamorphosis is a phenomenon that occurs in nature all the time, it can bring up resistance and fear. But take control of the transformation by living as if you are already on the other side. And then the shifts that happen become more intentional and will unfold at a truly staggering pace. I'm going to say a part of it that really struck me again, in case it didn't strike you. It's even though metamorphosis is a phenomenon that occurs in nature all the time, it can bring up resistance and fear. But take control of the transformation by living as if you are already on the other side. And then the shifts that happen become more intentional and will unfold at a truly staggering pace. Wow. Wow. That's a good suggestion. It is a good suggestion. I'm glad I grabbed it. I'm glad I grabbed this one for you. That's a good combination. I like that combination of the Fountain Tarot and the Visionary Oracle. All right. I hope that helps, Katie. I know that I was on it. I know that I'm fairly certain it was helpful for you. And thank you so much for the honor of reading for you. Yay, mid-episode reading. I love it. I love to show these tarot cards in action and oracle cards in action and how it can really help. And yeah, next time we will do it again next week, mid-episode reading. So let's go ahead and close this out. And again, if you didn't win the mid-episode reading this time around, you just have to tune in next week, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for your chance to win the mid-episode reading, or you can always book a reading with me at tarotbyhilary.com. Okay. Katie says, I'm already there. Okay, that's what I have to think. Thank you so much. It definitely helped. You're very welcome, Katie. You're very, very welcome. All right, let's continue with our talk on the Fountain Tarot. So there are a few cards that particularly caught my eye as I was looking through the deck for the first time. And I'll try and pull out some of these cards, but actually the Nine of Swords was one of the... Can't make this stuff up. The Nine of Swords was one of the cards that I made reference to that did come up in this reading, in the reading that I just did for Katie. So there are a few cards that particularly caught my eye. So the Nine of Swords, which you just saw in the reading, With the Nine of Swords, I saw this card as emotional creep. The red lines in this card reminded me that the worries and doubts. Did I shuffle these back in already? I did. I shuffled it back in. The red lines in this card reminded me that the worries and doubts can creep up on us so easily during both times of rest and times of trouble. The Three of Swords as well. The Three of Swords has no business being so pretty in this deck, but it really is. And it reminds me of Blondie's song Heart of Glass, and you'll see why in a second if I can find it. Let me see. Like the way that the sword suit is depicted in this deck is like just truly, truly beautiful. Oh, that's another card that I wanted to focus on, the Ten of Swords. Because a lot of the time in the sword suit, it looks almost as if instead of it being swords, it almost looks as if there's like beams of light piercing the different figures or piercing the cards or what have you. Let's see. The moon card is absolutely gorgeous. And also, what cards do you want to see out of this deck? Let me know. Okay, I already looked at this part. There's the Three of Swords. So can you tell why I thought of Blondie's Heart of Glass? Doesn't do it justice. Like, I wish I had my lighting implements in here so it's not doing just the overhead lighting. I can try. Hold on. Look at that. Like the way that the light is depicted in these, like, Three of Swords has no business being this pretty. Okay? It just doesn't. Let's see what else. The Ten of Swords. Yes, the Ten of Swords absolutely floored me with how disturbing and beautiful it is. So. It's very pretty. Fran's here. Fran, hello. It looks kind of 3D. Yes, yes. So this is the Ten of Swords. Like, notice why I was saying before about the light, the shafts of light. It has almost this quality of light piercing through. And yes, Katie's saying the swords gives off the ideas energy. Most definitely. Yeah, so the sword suit in this deck is just simply gorgeous. The way that the swords are depicted as both shafts of light and shadow with that transparent and cutting quality, especially in this card, just wow. The depiction of the Two of Cups is the most applicable Two of Cups card for the analogy of love as two people not looking at each other, but looking in the same direction. Yeah, so let me show you that one too. Two of Cups. Oh, and by the way, this is today's card of the day, is the Seven of Cups. Let's see. I do really like the Queen of Swords in this one. If I can't find the Two of Cups, then that is a problem. There's the Two of Cups. Yeah, 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 because they're looking in the same direction. They're not looking at each other. They're looking in the same direction. See, they're looking up at the cups. So I'm not sure which card you're referencing. Those look like candles, but they probably do. Sure. Let's see, what else? Yeah, Two of Cups. Some of the depictions of the cards are classic RWS, such as the Five of Cups or the Nine of Coins, while other cards are quite strong departures from it, such as the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups is almost like this yogic pose that two people are doing together in order to find balance. And I just saw it. I just went past it, so I should be able to find it relatively quickly. There's the Nine of Coins. There's the Ten of Cups. Let's see what else. So the pros and cons of this deck may be one and the same. Its aesthetic beauty is both its strongest point and its biggest distraction as well. The geometric and sometimes abstract art could lead people to not see their lives in the images on the cards. Even so, the Fountain Tarot has quickly become one of my favorite decks. I believe the Fountain Tarot has that certain love it or hate it quality that decks, some tarot decks like the Wild Unknown has. I urge you to discover it for yourself or not by purchasing a copy of it yourself. And again, I think I've provided that link. Hopefully, let me see. Where is it? Did I already provide that link? I think I did. Ten of Swords look like candles. I was wondering what the Star, Moon, and Sun cards are. Yes. I just saw the Star. High Priestess is really cool too, so I'll pull that out. Star, Moon, and Sun. I think I showed you the Moon already. Because it's like more of like the Moon Temple rather than being like the moon. Found the Sun. I think the Moon is in here too. There's the Moon. All right, so let's do one that you didn't ask for. The High Priestess. Check her out. She's definitely got that bitch please look on her face that I feel like most High Priestess tarot cards need to have now at this point. Where it's just like, why are you asking me this question? You already know the answer. That's the kind of like stank face that I need to see on my High Priestess tarot card. And if we're definite, she give me that look on my body. So there's the High Priestess. And let's see. Let's do this in order. Star. Moon. Sun. Yes, definitely. Definitely strong look. Mm-hmm. For sure. All right. Is there any other cards that you want to see out of this deck? I mean, like, I feel like I focused a little too hard for some of these on the minor arcana and not so much on the major arcana. And also the review that I gave was like more of my initial thoughts on the Fountain Tarot, but they haven't really changed that much since my initial review of the Fountain Tarot. Um, the and I still strongly agree with what I said, that it's like its biggest pro is also equally its biggest con, where some of the departures, the visual departures from the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith symbology, um, can be hard for a newer reader, and you would really need to lean heavily on the guidebook to be able to understand maybe why the artist made the choice that they did. But at the same time, I do feel like it's a strong enough companion book that you can still use this deck and be very gratified from the use of this deck. Yeah. And also could be my overhead lighting too. My reasons for asking for those cards was that a lot of those cards had been dark, so I wondered how the sun was in comparison. It comes up well, yes. And that also could be, the fact that I don't have my my clamp light, my ring light on, so you can't really see it. It's a little bit muddier. So, how is the Emperor? I'm so glad you asked. The imagery energy has some feminine energy to it. I've seen so far. It's almost sci-fi in the imagery. Yes, yes. So the Emperor definitely has that structure. It's very red. It's very red. It's very fiery. And it's almost as if he's holding up the square. He's like the king of squares, which is kind of funny. But it does definitely give that visual depiction of like upholding leadership and also upholding the status quo. It's very it's almost very Hierophant-y emperor-ish. It has this combination of the two. Like the Ace of Cups, like, geez, the Ace of Cups is just gorgeous. Really, really pretty. And the pentacles are gorgeous too. The Queen of Coins is the Queen of Coins. Very lush. But you asked for the Emperor, so you will get the Emperor. Like, look at the Three of Coins here. So that happen? Oh no, I got crud on my deck. I got crud on my deck. Oh no. This is what happens when I work at the kitchen counter. Got crud on my deck. Oh no. By the way, it's probably going to be the absolute last one that comes up. Almost guaranteed. I swear, I just saw it in here too. Yeah, I got a bit. I got schmutz. Look, see that smudge there? I schmutzed on it. Damn it. I don't know where it went. 10 of Swords, and page 3 of Coins, 10 of Swords. There it is. All right. Here is the Emperor. And it's actually quite red. So I try to zoom in there so you can get some of the details and then zoom back out again so you can see the color of it. Oh, schmutzed on the back too. Oh, I think it's time for me to put this away. Oh, poor little deck. All right. Any other questions about the Fountain Tarot cards that you want to see from the Fountain Tarot before we wrap up? And Anne, we already did the mid-episode reading, but you are more than welcome to book a reading with me at tarotbyhilary.com. I would be happy to work with you. Katie is asking or saying definitely masculine energy to that deck for the Emperor card. Yes, absolutely. I believe that like the cups are really gorgeous. Like their depiction of how the light hits, how the water, like the elements are so well represented in this deck. And yes, there is somewhat of a sci-fi ethereal quality to the imagery, but also some of the cards are very grounded in nature and how water flows or what water does. Like there's bubbles, there's crystals. I really love the 3 of Cups. Look at the 3 of Cups. So it's 3 hands and 3 arms and 3 cups, and then the water just spilling out from there. And then the 7, the wands have such a kinetic energy about them. They're just like, they feel very alive. They feel very action oriented, which is exactly what the wand suit is, you know? Yes. Yeah. The cups were lovely in their water imagery. I agree wholeheartedly. So, you know, we're going to be exploring this deck more in Card of the Day, in the Card of the Day readings that I put on my social media accounts. So please make sure that you follow me. Make sure that you're following me on the social media platform of your choice, because I'm on most of them as at Tarot by Hilary. That's Hilary with one L. So follow me on the Talk of Tick. Follow me on the Gram of Insta. Follow me on the Book of Face or the Tube of You, because I am going to be trying to post, these card of the day readings from the Fountain Tarot on most of my social media platforms. Today, I was only able to post the card of the day to the Gram of Insta because for some reason my phone was not cooperating with me. But if you're interested in seeing what the images of these cards are and how they play out and how they read from a professional tarot reader's experience, like definitely make sure that you're following me on these different social media platforms so that you can see how these cards interact, how these cards show up, and also get your free general reading for the day too. All right. I think it's time for the weekend forecast. So let's do it. All right, I am going to put these babies away. I don't even know what schmutz, like how that even happened, because I made sure that the counter was clear before I put these down. So I don't know where the hell that schmutz came from, but that's all right. I will fix it. I will clean it. This deck is not out of the running just because there's a little bit of schmutz on it. Treat your cards with respect, though. Okay. Let's go for a weekend forecast from the Visionary Oracle, considering this is close to hand because I did use it as part of Katie's reading for the mid-episode reading. I am going to keep that card removed so that we have a fresh weekend forecast. And this is just what do we most need to know for this weekend. What do we most need to know for this weekend? Ooh, inspire curiosity. All right. We are inspiring curiosity this weekend. And I think that's also a fire element card, which is energetic in nature. All right. So here is the card itself, and here is the interpretation. Curiosity is the seed for creativity. It starts with questioning something without judging it. Wondering why things are the way they are allows us to imagine them being different. Do a deep dive into something that sparks your curiosity. See where it takes you. Expose yourself to new experiences. Let your mind wander. Be more childlike. Ask why until you get to the core of something. Keep asking why. Stay open and approach life with curiosity instead of judgment. All right, so that's your weekend forecast. Wow, inspire curiosity. Keep curious. Keep curious. It's the way to be young. To be eternally youthful is to stay curious, right? Okay. So that was your episode. Thank you so much for deep diving with me into the Fountain Tarot, and also being read for all sorts of other things. You're welcome. You're welcome so much, Katie. And again, remember that we do this every Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on different metaphysical topics. I am open to suggestions for what you would like to see next. And if it's a topic that we've already covered in past episodes, because we've been doing this for, as of this month, I've been doing this live stream for 4 years now. So probably towards the end of the month, we might do a 4-year anniversary episode in which we take a look at the different topics that I've covered over the last 4 years, different insights that we've gotten over the last 4 years. I mean, can you believe I've been doing this for 4 years now? It's incredible. Anyway, but yeah, I am open to different metaphysical topics and discussing them. And what do you want to learn? What do you want to learn about? So once again, I am Hilary, professional tarot reader and EFT tapping practitioner, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Because yes, my friends, do not argue with me. You have intuition. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I will see you next time, Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye.